Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you are listening live from the Path, coming to you from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. And I'm wearing khaki pants.
I'm wearing gym shorts.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Congratulations, Boova. Mike, what you got on? Pair of sandals. Oh, I didn't see that coming.
No, that's it.
Wow.
Hey, listen here. After live broadcast into podcast material. When you're talking about just wearing the sandals. Got it. All right, here we go. Hey, if this is your first time joining us on Live from the Path,
good luck.
You make mistakes in life. It's a fallen world, fellas. And listening to Live from the Path may or may not be an outcome of that. We're about honest faith, fierce grace, and donkeys. Because here's the deal. A bunch of dudes and a lady in a room talking about Jesus can still also talk about things like breakfast cereal and donkeys. So that's what's going on the show probably tonight, pretty much forever. If that doesn't sound like your bag, go somewhere else. That's all right. Not everything can be for you. Here's what I think we got going on the show tonight. First of all, Boova has what I think is a first in Live from the Path history, which is a double Pope style.
Double barrel Pope style.
Now, so a sawed-off shotgun Pope style. Boova, do you have a preview on either one of these items?
Okay. First thing is live out your testimony.
Okay.
Second thing is you're a pansy and can't do it yourself.
No, I love this. This sounds awesome. All right, that's Pope style. And just for, in case you're new to it, Pope style advice is someone has mistaken our friend Boova over here for being the Pope.
Mistaken.
There's been nefarious ne'er-do-well telling of lies and insinuations at the local pub, and they said, that man is the Pope, go onto his lawn. And they accumulate onto his lawn this hordes of people, it's in the teens, and they say, give us some Pope style advice. You know when the Pope comes out on the balcony and says something. They're doing that to Boova, and if he doesn't give advice that is otherwise relevant to them and to his own life, they will refuse to leave his lawn. And the homeowners association in
they get upset.
White bread organization will
They
not
get
put up
really
with
upset. Mr. Boova, you need to get all these people off your lawn. So that's why I came armed with double barrel Pope style.
Okay, all right. So anyway, that we're going to take care of that. We also got a couple articles, a few that we were supposed to get to last week, and then we did not get to. So here's here's a couple of the articles. First of all, we're talking about what not to say to someone who has been hurt by the church. And we kind of previewed that, but we never got around to it. So we're going to see if we can hit that one this week. And we also might get to modesty. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Inconceivable.
So you're going to apologize to me for my sandals comment from earlier and your
seems-
overboard reaction.
That seems possible in the realm of possibility. Also, we've got some advice on Dear Life from the Path. Hey, but irrelevant of all that stuff, we got a sweet guest in the studio, King MC, who you've met. You have met on the show before, is joining us back in studio. And so here's what I want to do is I want to catch up with him and see what's going on in his world. First of all, Mr. King, how do I
Mr. MC.
Mr. MC. Okay, I love that better. So tell me, you dropped an album just within the last few months. Tell me about that, kind of the concept behind that album. And I don't know, what do you want people to walk away from listening to it?
Okay, well, it's great to be back. I'm just throwing that out there. And then the album is called #Change the World.
Wait, did you write out the word hashtag, or is it like a symbol?
No, it's the symbol,
It's the symbol,
hashtag
yeah.
symbol.
Right.
#Change the World. I mainly did that because for it's like social media right now with the hashtags and on the Twitters and the whatnots, the Instagrams. The hashtags, the social media is changing the world, the way we communicate. So it's got that in there, and then also the concept behind the album about changing the world is basically a message to the church about love, because as you're going to mention later about people that have, what not to say to people that have been burned by the church.
Yep.
The church is notorious for not loving, and it's ironic because we have a song that says they will know we are Christians by our love, and that's not how they know we're Christians. these days. And so,
Sorry, that actually, the way you just said that made me think they know we are Christians by our bumper sticker.
right,
And that seemed, yeah, that's not right.
by our Jesus fish on
Honk if you love Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
by our reposts
Yeah.
of So the message, the overall message of the album is to the church, and just trying to challenge them to go out and love people and to live out our faith. And it's not easy, but if you're just sitting there loving the people that you love, non-believers do that too. And so it's really no different, and we're called to be different. So that's basically the overall arc of the album. And the only thing that's going to change the world that we're in right now is the love of Christ. So.
Do you feel like the church is listening? Because I think what you're talking about is
to my album. No, they're not.
So
That's honesty.
like that's a conversation that I feel like is coming up more and more between hopefully within the church, but like it seems to be a pretty consistent indictment of the church. And I don't know, how are we missing that message, right? It was Jesus's message,
Right.
So like if the church isn't hearing it, like why not? Like what are we missing here?
That's what I can't figure out. Because when I'm going through like my daily devotionals or whatever, and I'm seeing Jesus say these things, and Paul say these things, and James say these things, it's just, and these are messages that are taught in church, and we all know these passages, and so I don't understand how we're not living that out. And I think I got into a conversation the other night about this, that the world is changed. Like 20 years ago, even before that, the country was this country pretty much had a Christian worldview, if that makes sense. I mean, not everybody's Christian, but the Christian morals were pretty much prominent in society. And since then, even just the past 20 years, we've rapidly started walking away from those. And where now I think people before got comfortable with that. Oh, everybody believes this. We can do this. And now the church is being challenged by society is rapidly changing, and it's not happening the way we want it to, basically. If any of that makes sense.
Right. No, I think that's right. I think we feel like if at least culture, the laws and the norms and stuff within the United States, we're not necessarily reflective of a relationship with Jesus, but it did at least smell like the righteousness that the Bible calls us to. Like it had that shape and form, right? And so I think I would agree to the extent that once the church or society at large, like stuff starts to push back a little bit, how the church fights is basically not how Jesus fights, right? The church reacts in the way that the rest of the world reacts, which is we push and pull back and try to grab power and reinstitute the things that we think are right, as opposed to reacting to that type of push from a non-Jesus culture in basically the same way they would as the church was trying to press their morals on the other way.
Right.
And I think you're right. Like we took our playbook on how to influence what people do, not from Jesus at all, but basically from the society that otherwise trying to take power that the church thought it previously had, which is difficult, right? Like I mean, if you don't love like Jesus and fight like Jesus, you can't be surprised when your outcome isn't basically what Jesus said it would be.
Right.
And so yeah, no, I think we've definitely seen that. I think it is, and we kind of talked about this on the show a little bit before, that I think some of what we're seeing in the culture today is more of a reflection of what has been a much longer reality, in which things were had a kind of a facade of righteousness, but weren't necessarily couched in an actual relationship and loving Jesus. The American is a bit of a Christian light, right? It has these principles to it, but like some of the underlying things that are within our country aren't necessarily gospel things. But we've just kind of got those two things melded together, and you're seeing those things kind of strip away and say that these can be held in tandem, and they are. And I think we're seeing that. And I think that what you're pointing out, which is right, is that the church is struggling with the right identity here, and we're a lot of times fighting in the wrong arena, and we're not fighting with what like Jesus fought in basically non-compliance and love, and we tend to fight in other arenas within the same power struggle that goes on with anybody that doesn't love Jesus, right. And we're coming up with those same type of outcomes.
Hey, so how this is probably a better question for you, Dave, is like how much of a different beast is the American church than say the global church? You know what I'm saying? Like the way that other cultures are. I mean, there's portions of this world that are rocking the gospel. You know, like certain sects of that. But like, I mean, is the American church just a completely different beast?
No, I wouldn't say it's a completely different beast. You kind of see a bit of a characteristic difference in terms of a culture and society that's been exposed to Christ versus one that has yet to be exposed to Christ. We're more in the culture that was once exposed to Christ and then kind of got tired of it and moved on. And part of that's because just each generation has to pick up and teach the next generation how to be like Christ. And somewhere along the way, we started getting involved in other things. And it's something that starts in the church. It's when the church starts taking their eyes off of Jesus, they fall. And then the society around them is going to fall as well. We fall away from Christ. But there's other places in the world, like in particular Southeast Asia, where it's just growing and booming and just exploding. And the people are, for the most part, experiencing Christ for the first time. And it's an exciting thing. And they're wanting to go out and tell their neighbors, and their lives are being transformed. And because of the change that's taking place within them, it's affecting society around them and doing kind of a grassroots movement upwards. Whereas in America, we kind of prefer to take bits and pieces of Jesus that we like, and then for the parts that we don't like, we try to push those off onto others or ignore them entirely and try pushing those things up to maybe the national level when we ourselves are unwilling to obey him completely at the beginning. And so we've kind of gone through and approached Jesus like a buffet in our country. And that's for the most part true in some of the other places in Europe and places that have been exposed to the gospel before. They thought, hey, well, I liked this Jesus thing. Now can I add in some of that world thing too? And they don't mix. They don't work together. It's something you're either all in for Jesus or not. And so you really can't mix them together, and that's what we're kind of trying to do.
Well, and I think that like that part that you're talking about Southeast Asia and stuff, like that's the kind of stuff that gets me pumped is that's exactly what we're asking. Regardless of how society is falling around you, that is evident of your relationship with Christ and your ability to disciple people around you, right? Like the downfall of whatever America, like that's been a constant conversation amongst a certain group within the church especially in the last 5 years or so. Is like our society has gotten much, much worse, and really what's happened is our data collection has gotten better. Yeah. That's the truth. Like the society has been this way. That probably not to the 20-year mark, right? But especially maybe in the last 5 to 10, like our society has always been this way. They just haven't had the podium to sing it, aka the internet, and our ability to collect it. And so like the ability to show that society is for what it is much easier to do and get you much closer to the point. And so really what that does is it just makes me turn around and think that like sometimes especially the upper echelons of the church are pointing at the wrong animal. Like they point out instead of pointing in, going, look, we change because Christ changed us, and we change on a one-to-one level to the people around us. And not so much from what exactly sunk the Pharisees, which is a governmental type, top-down system. And like that's not what Christ set up at all. He set up the personal relationships. Otherwise, the 12 disciples aren't necessary. Otherwise, he would have just picked the mountain and said, "All of you sit down there. I'm just gonna speak broadly to you all at once," and that is not what he did. Right?
Yeah, so it's surprising how just universal these things have been going on for all of time. I mean, just in that first generation, you see the same sort of pattern unfolding as you've got this Jewish population who has been exposed to God in His glory from before, and so they've been mixing along with God all these other sorts of cares from the world, and they're very reflective of the status of the church today. But then you also have this other population of people who are being exposed to Jesus for the first time, and they're often called Gentiles. And you find them both united together in Christ. And really, their path towards salvation is one and the same, even though they come from different backgrounds. So we who have been exposed to Christ and have a generational history of walking with the Lord, and then there are also those on the other side of the planet who are being exposed to Christ for the first time. Ultimately, the call to all of us is to just embrace Christ with all of your hearts and let him work through you. And then as a body, you guys can be together collectively, reflecting Christ's glory to the rest of society around you. It will change the society around you, but it's something that has to start within yourself and changes yourself. So in as much as we're trying to affect our culture and affecting our society, and even at the national level, they are as well. Over in Southeast Asia, they're wanting to transform their culture for Christ. Our hearts are the same in this. It's just we kind of come from different backgrounds in it is all.
Right, and it sounds like we're mixing up the macro and the micro perspective. Like we want to win the ball game, and no one's willing to play third base.
Yeah.
We just want to kind of see the thing change, and like society will change, and suddenly the laws will look like we think they should look, and people will act the way we think they will act. We just need to win the game, and then we put a lot of effort into telling people, here's how you win the game. We're going to win the game, and like literally no one's on third.
But the thing is, Christ has already won the game.
True, big time.
Yeah.
We stop. Yeah, just play third.
Yeah, exactly.
Just play third base.
Well, I think that explains the anger that kind of started the conversation. Why are we not loving? Where we seem to be more angry as Christians. You watch Facebook, social media, and so forth. Is we've had a couple generations at least of not making disciples, so we haven't personally been discipled, and we've learned if we just elect the right guy in the office, he'll force people to act like Jesus. And then I can be comfortable. I can play the church growth game and the number game, and give out hams at Easter, and people will come and love our church. And we haven't taught people about Jesus really. We've just made a lot of splash. So now the culture has tipped, and they're not voting people in who will make people act like Jesus. They're making them act however they want, which is not like Jesus. And so we don't know how to respond. We just are angry. And so I get mad. I'm going to show this political point, or I'm going to shove this article at you and make everybody try to. We don't know how to disciple, and that's really the issue. And out of that frustration, we just get angry. That's what I've experienced talking to people, and I've had it myself. I had to kind of grow past that. And go, wait a minute, this problem's mine, not culture's, and I have done Jesus incorrectly. And that took me a while to figure that out, but because I was just as angry. So I think that's a lot of the issue right there.
So then, that's to be honest with you, that sounds a lot like what you kind of have going on in your life, right? Like you left. You're from kind of the Southwest, right?
Yes.
And you're traveling around and kind of hitting city after city and doing van living just to be a part of something that God has otherwise called you to do. Like that sounds like playing third to me. Mm-hmm. So how has that experience been for you? Like, it's a pretty interesting lifestyle. There's a lot of take this the right way, but there's a lot of normalcy that people would see in their day-to-day life that you've kind of given up to pursue this thing that God's got on you. How's that been for you?
It's been freeing, actually. I thought, every night I would come home from work or whatever, hang out with my wife and my dog. And then, as she's going to sleep or whatever, I'm playing Xbox, and I thought, this is going to be so hard to give up. When God called us to go do this, and then as we're packing things up to put into storage, I'm like looking at it, and the parable of where Jesus is saying, "Don't store up your riches on earth."
Yeah.
Here I am, literally getting a storage room for my riches on earth. And I mean, I know that's not what he meant, you know, but that's how I took it. And I'm just like, let's just get rid of all of it. But we'd already bought the storage unit, so
What do you do?
It's like, God, I understand where you're coming from, but we already got the storage unit, and there's no return
There's no
policy
return
on it.
policy.
So I mean,
So-
we might as well use it.
yeah. But I'm thinking when we go back, we're gonna definitely downsize a lot of this stuff. We actually ended up we couldn't fit a table our dining room table into the storage unit. And so we're like, okay, I guess we're just going to, toss this. So we took it out of the storage unit, and this woman was there, and we're like, do you want a table? And she's like, I just moved back from Georgia. I don't have any furniture. Yeah, I'll take it. So we were able to do that for her. So that was cool. But I don't miss any of it. And I thought that would be a lot harder than it was. And so it's basically we have everything we need in our van. It's like I've got everything. I've got my wife, I've got my dog, we've got food, we've got a place to sleep, we've got our clothes. And we're just going across the country and sharing the gospel through music. And it's not a traditional music. It's not something that you hear on Sunday mornings at church, but it's the music that society's listening to now, that the youth is listening to now. And I'm honored to be a part of that. And, a lot of times, sometimes we're not getting big crowds, but that's fine with me because I'm able to actually meet with the people that come and get to know their stories. And by the end, and fellowship, and by the end of it, I've got new friends and that I can stay in contact with and just encourage along the way. And so it's been really fun. And God's also been challenging me. He's been challenging Michelle, and just growing us in our faith and what it is to walk in that faith and to trust Him with providing everything. I don't know how He does it or why He does it, but He's cool.
No doubt. And here's the thing: is like I think we could all. It's one of those things where I think we could really learn from an attitude that stops measuring things in the wrong way. Like I don't get me wrong, right? Like it's nice to see 200 people sitting in a room when you're going to perform something. I get that, right? Like me and Mike were in a band for like a decade. Like I get that, but like especially with what it is that you're doing, the right measure, right, is God using what you have going on to be able to connect with people in a way that we said the church is failing at, so that you can otherwise talk and share and point them to Jesus. And like that's our right barometer, right? That is what the pursuit of righteousness, that's what faithful living and actually following where Jesus has you doing. You can expect those type of outcomes following Christ in that way. When otherwise, like again, if we fight like the world fights, or if we count like the world counts, success in the world is going to seem like the more people, the more albums, the more exposure, the more whatever. And it's not those things can't be true. It's just not the right. It's not necessarily the right barometer. And so I think it's I would much rather say that I got to spend some quality time talking about Jesus with somebody, or that I sat in this room with this group of people talking about Jesus, than to find out that someone went onto our Pathway Facebook page or YouTube page and listened to one of the sermons from the church. Like 10,000 people listen to that, right? Because like I don't have any idea whether they just kind of consume that, right? But we had a conversation. We had a people-to-people, person-to-person conversation. We're talking about Jesus. We're trying to grow in the faith and learn what it looks like to follow Him and commit our lives to that. And that seems like the right kind of bellwether, the right barometer to say, what does it look like? Because that's what I can control. I can play third. Jesus took care of the outcome. I can play third base. I know that. Everything else seems to be out of my hands, and maybe we've just gotten too grabby. We've gotten handsy, and we feel like we can pull more stuff into our own area of responsibility, when what Jesus is actually calling us to do is say, no, give it up. I got it.
That's like the guy on third running over to first base, too, trying to catch a throw that he put out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's trying to run the whole field like a dummy.
And he doesn't even wear a glove. It's like, come on, put your glove on.
Hey, man, I was teaching, I'm coaching softball this year, and there's this guy, seriously, there's this kid out, and he plays in the right field, and I must have said 8 times in the game to that guy, say, dude, put your glove on. He's got his glove off, and he's like picking flowers in the outfield and counting them. Like, and I thought he was despotic, like I thought like maybe he loved someone, or maybe they loved him not, and he was trying to sort it out. Anyway, that's not relevant to the story. It just popped into my mind, this fella. That's cool. Anyway, I want to talk where people can get your album, but like, do you have something that you could share with us? Like, I don't know the right parlance, a rhyme you could spit so people can get an idea of what it is that you're about?
Yeah, I can do that for you.
Okay, sweet. Tell me a little bit about what you're gonna talk on.
Okay, so this verse I'm gonna do is from my new album. It's from the last track. It's called Eric Steven. Eric Steven's my name. Well, Eric Hand is my name. Steven's my middle name. Eric Steven Hand. There you go. You can find me now. But but Eric's
Good luck. I'm in a van.
so yeah, the song's Eric Steven. It's who I am, and so this verse is from that song.
Okay,
Okay, so
sweet. You're listening to Live from the Path. This is King MC.
I fell when I was weak, cause I failed to believe. Got it twisted like I'm French, je m'appelle Eric. Like Belle and the Beast, heal this beauty in me. I was unveiled to the king, and now he's jealous for me. Holy Spirit, move me, you're proving. Sorry, let me start over. I just swapped.
It's all good. I do that all the time.
I know, oh my goodness. I'm gonna stand up. Is that okay?
Yeah,
do it.
Okay,
Yep.
let me do that. Okay. I'm gonna get into it. The camera on me? Oh, the camera's
That's
on
better.
me. Okay,
This
there
is
we go.
better. I love it.
Here we go. I fell when I was weak, cause I failed to believe. Got it twisted like I'm French, je m'appelle Eric. Like Belle and the Beast, heal this beauty in me. I was unveiled to the king, and now he's jealous for me. Holy Spirit, move me, you're proving you improve me. You approve me, others forget they ever knew me. Who he, who me, you ain't no newbie. I'll be dancing like Snoopy when I flood your newsfeed. Use me tomorrow, you lead, I follow. Produce fruit with brute roots that's too huge to swallow. Also call me in the womb, protecting me as I grew. You're my guardian like Rocket Raccoon, I am Groot. Boop boop beep yo, send out the troops. I'm living proof you can use a recluse to spread your news. A new shoes, a new suit, a new attitude. And I can use a scoop of super salt and pepper before we shoot. What a mighty good man, the lamb, he fills my cup. Call me a lush, cause 16 bars ain't enough. I'm in love, yo, this is nuts. That he sent his only son to elect me and accept me as I was. So I made the tough decision to follow in his mission. A Christian should be driven instead of sitting in remission. Grab the puppy and the missus, leave the money and the riches. I'm out to change the world, I just ask that you take a listen.
Woo!
I love it.
Hey, man,
man.
that was awesome.
The stand-up game was on point. that was awesome. Hey, man, did you make a Guardians of the Galaxy reference
I
in
did.
that?
I
Nice.
did.
That was awesome.
Oh man, that's so. Where can people pick up your album?
They can download it off of datpiff.com for free. And then they can also... How do you spell that? That's DATPIFF.com?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
We'll link that thing off the website.
Yeah.
That way we can find it.
So they can do that for free there. And then come to any event that I'm at, and you can get a physical copy for free. So
That's awesome.
So why do you give it away?
because I don't charge for the gospel.
Yeah.
I don't I don't believe in making money off of sharing what Christ has done with me. A few years ago, I was at a show, and this is something that God's been working on my heart a lot. And so a few years ago, I was at a show. This girl comes up to me and says, "Hey, you're dope. I love you. How much is your CD?" I'm exaggerating. She didn't say all that, but I mean, she did say
You're
she did
super
say-
handsome and
Yeah, she's super handsome.
You look great today.
And she did ask me how much was my CD. It was like $10. She's like, "Oh, I don't have $10," and she turned around and walked away. Well, now I'm out $10. She's out the CD, but I made the music for her, so I would rather be out the $10 than her to be out the music.
Right.
And so God just started working with me on that and tearing down walls. And so I don't believe that people should be making money off the gospel. I'm not saying that I think people should be paid for their art.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between if you're going to be calling something ministry and whatnot. I just don't feel that you should be charging the people that you're trying to minister to for that. Now, T-shirts, wristbands, that's a whole different game.
Right.
That's merchandise, whatever. But, I mean, and I understand, I know there's going to be a lot of people angry about that. And I do understand that ministry costs money because, believe me, I invest my own money into that. But, there's also, I do believe that biblically, the church should also be supporting ministry. And, luckily we have people that believe in us, that do donate to us and help us to be able to go out and share the gospel and do this. So
Here's the deal. There's just a small light in me that loves everything that you're saying. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just absolutely love everything that you're saying. I hear the opposite so many times. I think the opposite. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, people should board a radio show, blah, 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 buy stuff from me. Here's the deal. First of all, it ain't worth whatever you think you're going to pay. And you're right. You can't charge for the gospel. And I've heard the counter argument generally to what you're saying is maybe the Lord intended me to make money, and this is how he's going to support me. Here's the deal. I don't believe that the Lord is going to be shanghaied by your attempts to not charge for the gospel. Well, Eric's not listening to me. I guess I'll just have to let him fall into utter poverty and despair. He's trying to give away my love for free. Well, I guess I'm screwed. Like that does not sound like the God that I know at all. So I appreciate, I really do. Like, honestly, I appreciate everything that you're saying. It sounds spot on to me, and I think it's awesome.
thank you.
Yes, you can pick that up. I just posted that on our Twitter. If you're following Life from the Path on Twitter, it's at Life from the Path. And our most recent post within the last 2 minutes has got King MC hook up with his Twitter feed so you can see what's going on in their world. And then also the link to pick up that album. Get that thing downloaded. It's absolutely free. Share it around. The more people to hear it, the better. The man's put some effort into it. He's taken what God's got him doing, and he's put it into that album. And you might as well hear it. I love that. And so go out and check that out. And is Twitter the best spot for you, or is there a website that's better, Facebook better? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm all over social media. So there's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on all three of those. And I personally interact with everybody. So I would just say find me on one of those.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, make sure you hook up with that stuff. That'd be very cool. All right. Well, let's Buva. Shoot. I tell you what, we're running out of time here. Hit me up with one of your Pope styles, Buva.
Okay, you don't want them double barrel style. You just want one at a time.
Are they long and dramatic?
Shouldn't be.
That's a lie, Buva.
No. I've been really kind of trying to cut them down because when I first thought about it was going to be long.
Okay, all right.
So I'm working on it. Okay, so just in case, I'll introduce myself, whatever. Again, no. Again, when it comes to Pope style.
the Third.
No. Again, when it comes to Pope style, if you didn't hear at the beginning of the show, what this is local hooligans have been running around and have been talking in the pubs and in the crawls saying that I am the Pope, which is wrong. And so I have a crowd of people in front of my doorstep saying that they know that I'm the Pope and they're not leaving my house until they hear some kind of wonderful Pope wisdom. So here is my first Pope style, double barrel style. First Pope style is you need to live out your testimony. It is more powerful when you can live out Christ's work in you. It's one thing to be able to say about God's love and to be able to say about Christ working through lives and all this different stuff, but it's another to just show it. You know, it's great if you can talk about the scriptures, and it's great if you can talk about God's love and what that means and what that should mean for people, but there's something completely different about it when you actually live it. It seriously, it throws people off when rather than talking about God, you show his heart. And you show his love. And I'm going to talk about one specific situation. It's going to seem selfish, of course, but the other day, okay, so I went and got groceries from a local grocery store. I went with my brother. We went and got food for the night. We were going to be grilling out. So I went and got some steaks for us. I got some brats for me and some steaks for him. And I told him I loved him and I was going to pay for his dinner. It was no problem. I'll take care of it. So he says, okay, I want these steaks. And I said, perfect. I'll get you 2 of those. I'll get one for you and one for your girlfriend. And he goes, awesome. I really appreciate you getting dinner. So we went, bought dinner, got all that stuff taken care of, took it back to our mom's place to start cooking. And as I'm unpacking everything and getting my brats out, I get them ready, and then I get his steaks out, and I look at the package, and it says that it was $1.50. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. I know those steaks were a lot more expensive than that. It wasn't $1.50. It was a lot more. And I look at it, and it says 2 twice-baked potatoes. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, man, they only gave us baked potatoes. We're going to have to go back. But then I open it up, and the steaks are there. And so I got 2 very nice steaks, and the guy charged me for a twice-baked potato for $1.50. And so immediately, everyone in my family goes, heck yeah, that's awesome. Seriously, that's cool, man. You only had to pay $1.50 for 2 really nice steaks. And I go, yeah, I'm going back. And then everybody kind of looked at me like, wait, what? That's their mistake. And I said, well, that doesn't matter. I'm going to go back and I'm going to pay for the steaks. And everyone kind of just got quiet, looked at me like, why? Why would you do that? That's dumb. Steak, it's a corporation. You're not stealing. It was something they did wrong. And I said, that's not the problem. I said, I can't stand back and say, hey, I paid $10 less than I should have. It doesn't matter the amount. I paid less than I should have. It is on me to correct this. And so everyone around me is still kind of staring at me. And my brother says, hey, I'm going back up there. Do you want me to do it for you? I said, yes, but I want a receipt. I don't want this to be a situation where you go up there, pretend like you're taking it back, and then come back and go, oh, they didn't want to charge you. I want a receipt. And I handed him the meat or the receipt that I had before, and I handed him my debit card, and I said, I want you to go up to cashier, and I want you to tell them that you got 2 steaks, but we're only charged for $1.50. And I want you to make this right, and I don't care if they refuse you. I don't care if they say no. You will pay them. That's the situation. And so he said, okay. And everyone around me is looking funny. And he goes up and he ends up walking up to the people. And he told me that he walked up and said to them, hey, I was only charged for a baked potato and I bought 2 steaks. I need to be charged correctly for the steaks. And the cashier looked at him and said, what? And he goes, I need to be charged for these steaks. And apparently they don't have that happen often enough to where the gal didn't know how to do it. She didn't know how to just go back and actually charge me for something that I was supposed to be charged for. Yep. And so she had to call the manager. The manager came back. She got it taken care of. And then Trey came back. My brother came back, and he said, I feel weird. And I said, that's fair, but it's my card. And he started laughing. He goes, yeah, I know, but I just feel weird about what I did. It was their mistake. And I said, that's not the problem. The situation is God calls us to be honest in these situations. And if I can't be honest in something as stupid as $9, how can I be trusted with anything else? And my family kind of just looked at me and said, well, it wasn't your mistake. And I said, you're not hearing me. God calls me to be honest in these situations. God expects me to act at a certain caliber. And it's not about your reaction. And it's not about the money. It's not about how much I saved or how much I spent. It's about the fact that I need to be honest. Even in small stuff like this, you have to be honest. And everyone in that room saw more of God's heart than they would have if I would have just said, hey, everybody, you know God wants you to be honest. Yippee. Have a great day. Honestly showing out God's love and showing out God's heart is a better testimony and is a better situation in many situations than being able to regurgitate as many scriptures as you want, and then being able to say to people that God loves them. Showing who God is and showing his heart and showing his commands through your life is a much more potent situation and a much stronger testimony. And that's my Pope-style advice, Barrel 1.
Barrel 1 accepted.
Hey, man, didn't we have a conversation about Buva breaking a couple things at a Walgreens not a couple months ago?
It was a Walmart. I crushed an alarm clock in my hands.
Okay, I said he should definitely hunt down whatever it takes to pay for it back, and y'all were on the opposite side of it. What has changed?
I don't remember being on the opposite side of that.
I remember some people being on the opposite side. I went back and tried to pay for it.
I'm going to pull up the tape. We're going to review this next week.
That's fine. Yeah, I remember that too, because I hulked out and crushed an alarm clock in my hands.
Here's the deal. I never remember a time when I was right. And this time, I was definitely right.
Hey, Mike, I'm glad that's what you got for my Pope style. Get off my lawn.
Wait a minute. No, I think the issue with that one is whether they insisted upon it or not.
That was it. They didn't care.
Yeah, like so the question would be...
Didn't you just say that it doesn't matter if they don't care? You will insist.
I paid for the alarm clock.
Okay, anyway, I'm not meaning to take away from your post talk, because actually I thought it was fantastic.
That's fine.
And spot on.
But what are you saying, though? In this circumstance, if they said, you know what, no, it's our mistake, we want you to keep the steaks, and you think Buva should throw $9 on the counter and say, this is for Jesus, and run out the door?
Yeah.
God wants it. Take it. Yeah. And then run away. Hey, man, that would be really funny.
I said nothing about the Vegas dramatic flair that you threw in.
I feel like that's what you're insinuating here.
You want it to look that way, so it seems ridiculous.
9 moons. I kind of like that.
I mean, you insisted to your family that you were going to do it upon persuasion.
Yeah.
It's because I think in that circumstance, it's not the family's call. It's not their stakes to say, yes, we want to give them away or not.
This was the caveat, is because I said it's not the cashier's call either.
Yeah, it's
the guy that runs the place's call.
Yeah, so
okay, I'm with you.
That's right. Yeah, we had to go to branch management with your situation.
Yeah. You were
go contact the CEO, Mr. Walton.
That's right.
I have a $9 alarm clock that I crushed.
If the guy who sweeps the floor says it's cool, you were like, okay, great. And then you were going to walk back out.
That's right.
That was the problem.
We did invoke the custodians. That's true.
All right. Accepted number 1. Pope. They refused to leave. They said that he's the legit Pope. They think, except he doesn't have the hat. Now we're confused. So now say another bit of wisdom,
Okay.
Buva Pump.
So they're still not leaving my lawn. So I reload with barrel number 2. You are not strong enough to do it on your own, and that is a very, very vague statement for a reason. You aren't. I don't really care what it is. I don't want you to come to me and say, well, Buva, just in case this is the situation you aren't. No. You're wrong. You aren't. God is the one who needs to do this. And this came about because recently, a lot of you guys know that I've been really pushing to lose weight. I mean, seriously pushing. I've lost, over 200 pounds now. And I mean, I'm seriously big on it right now. And I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying to exercise and all this different stuff. And the last week has been awful. It's been awful. It started last Monday where randomly I kind of broke down and ate a ridiculous amount of food and didn't care. And I did not care, and I don't know why. And I stopped myself and said, I'm going to be strong enough and I'm going to push past this. I am strong enough, and this is not going to continue. And then Tuesday, it happened. And then I said to myself, I'm strong enough. I'm going to push past this. There's nothing that can stop me. I've lost so much weight already, and I'm strong. And Wednesday, it happened. And Thursday it happened, and Friday it happened, and I justified Saturday. It's the weekend, it's cheat meal, it's whatever. And then Sunday came along, and I said it's okay, it's not a big deal. I'm not giving it anything. And then Monday came along, and I started off awful again. And then today I finally stopped myself and realized, why am I calling out to me that I am strong enough to handle this when there's someone I know that is much stronger than me and is actually capable? And I realized that I am very good at saying, I'm going to give this situation to God and I'm going to give it up to him because he's the one in control and he's the master of the universe. I'm awesome at saying that. I'm great at it. I've rehearsed it for years. I've said it in many situations to fellow believers that, I'm giving it to God and I'm super excited about that. But I don't. And I think that's where we get caught, is we get very easily say, I'm giving it to God, or you need to give it to God, yet for some reason we don't. And I'm not just talking about from the perspective of, we hold on to a few things. I'm talking, you say it and then hold on to every bit of it like you're the one in control and powerful enough to handle it. Stop. You aren't. You are not strong enough to handle this. There's a reason that you need to call out to God, and it's because you are weak. In whatever the situation is, whatever your addiction is, or your sin is, or your darkness is, you are not strong enough. You need to militantly cry out to God and give it to him always. And it's not just I wake up in the morning and I say, God, control today, and then I'm done with it. It's at 10 a.m. I say it again when I'm going to get breakfast. And it's at 11 a.m. when I see somebody walk by with a tray of donuts, giving them out for free. And it's at 12:30 when I go to have lunch and I have a choice to make whether I'm going to eat pizza or I'm going to eat something delicious that I actually made myself, like a turkey wrap. And it's again at 2:30, and it's again at 5, and it's again at 7:30. It is constantly giving it up to God. And that's just my situation with food and with laziness, but that's all of our situations. It is not a wake up in the morning, put on the armor of God and pray about it and thank God for it and then say, I'm done. It is constant prayer and constantly giving it up because you know that you pick it up 10 times a day. You know that you pick it up 10 times a day when you have to make those decisions. And instead of crying out to the God of the universe that can control it, you decide to cry out to yourself and say, I'm strong enough when you're not. Stop it. Stop putting yourself in a position of power that you know you don't deserve and can't handle. God is prepared to take this away from you. He wants you to give it to him. And I don't think you understand that well enough to be able to say 10 times a day, 15 times a day, whatever amount of number you want to put on there times a day, God, I cry out to you because I'm weak and you are strong. Take it from me. Stop passively giving it to God and then pretending like you're strong enough. Actively and militantly pursue him controlling it and holding on to it. And I promise you he's there to do it. And I promise you he is there and is stronger and is better than you are. And he is wiser than you are. He knows your heart and he knows your mind and he wants it. Give it to him at all times during the day. Not just once a day, not just once a week. Not just once and then say you're done.
Get off Buva's lawn.
Get off my lawn.
I don't need no hat.
Yeah. Pontiff said, what? All right, Buva, that's fierce.
Both of those were solid, Buva.
Yeah. That's I think you're dead on. I think it is often that we are putting on a show that we intend to be the truth. Right?
With no one in the audience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A one-man show with no attenders, no spectators. You're just like, I'll give it to God. Woo, I didn't really do it.
We're the clown with nobody watching and nobody laughing.
Yeah. How often do you hear that? Yeah, give it to Jesus. Like,
I say it I say it daily.
Yeah.
And I say it to people, yeah, man, I'm just giving the glory to God, and I'm giving it over to God because he's strong enough. Yet I'm like, I'm going to hold on to that pizza, God.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I have this burger just this once? And by this once, I mean again, today and tomorrow?
Yeah, yeah. It is an active pursuit. Following Jesus isn't tying a rope on his leg and waiting for him to drag you out.
You know what? So you know what's killer about that is like I've done that before, and I've purposely not given thanks to God because I didn't want him to look a fool when I screwed it up anyway. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
like I did this when I was when I was smoking legit smokes, you know, and like everyone's, especially church folks, they're like, you know, you should really give up to smoking. And I'm like, oh yeah. They say you should fast smoking. I'm like, I'm not fasting smoking. That's just lazy. I'm not seeking the Lord. I'm trying to kick a bad habit, right? That's I can't do double duty because I'll lose myself in it, you know. And like every time it would come up, and I thought God was tugging at me to do it, and I'd be like, you know, I'm going to fail at this, and I don't want to tell other people that I've asked for your help because they will think that you're weak because I will ignore you and do what I want anyway. I totally knew it was going to happen, and I felt God would just kick me in the ribs when I'd say that kind of stuff for weeks, and I never did it. Like to this day, I never did. I never prayed about it. I never asked Him to help me for that exact reason.
Stop having a lack of belief in his power.
No, I totally believe in good.
Well, so I get that. I completely understand that concept of I don't want to give this to God because I don't want
Hey,
people
hold on
to
a
think
minute.
he's
You're
failing.
like, hey, here, Boova bears his soul. Everyone's like, nice job, Boova. Mike bears his soul, and they're like, you're a dummy.
Hey, man,
That's what that felt
The
like.
words "you're a dummy" have not left my mouth yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mike, you're a dummy.
Maybe
I feel like I needed to own up to that statement. You're a dummy.
You're very condescending.
No,
to me.
what I'm saying, I am still there. I get that. Like, I completely understand. Like, I still have situations where I'm just like, you know what, God, I want to give this to you, but I don't want people to think that you're weak because I can't do it.
Yeah.
And
It comes to a certain point where you're like, where you figure out that God can handle his own PR. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
He ain't running it through your agency. You're a fool.
It's like, yeah, you may fail and you may run away, but that doesn't mean God failed.
Yeah, it's terrible when God says, look, I need people to know that I can redeem idiots, and you, sir, are the idiot I'm using.
Hey, man.
Out you go.
That's been one of our struggles on this trip, is that, you know, as our finances are going down and we're, you know, committed to doing this for 7 months, it's like, I know for me that I've been scared that we're going to fall on our faces and it's going to make God look bad, you know? And the thing is like, whether if I do fall on my face, he's going to pick me up again. And at the same time, he called me to go do this. He's going to provide all the resources I need to successfully complete it. And the same with you. Once you start walking in that faith again, or, you know, I believe, because I've been seeing your Facebook post and you've been doing amazing. And so I know that once you give that over to him and walk in that faith, he's going to give you the strength to control those urges and to continue towards that goal to be successful, you know? And so, yeah, you were amazing with that spot on double barrel.
Those God stuff.
That Pope style comes at you. All right, hey, you're listening live from the Path. By the way, here, if you're listening on the Truth Network, first of all, big thanks to the Truth Network for having us on. Hey, shoot them an email, send them a text. Hey, they're moving their studios here into the Des Moines metro area. Pound on the door at all hours of the day and say, hey, thanks for letting Live from the Path on. But also, big thanks to our sponsors, Bob Eisenhower with the Eisenhower team. Go to eisenhowerteam.com for all your home buying and selling needs. Now may or may not be the time to buy or sell a home. Bob knows that kind of stuff. That's why he's the realtor, and we do late night internet radio. So check him out. Go to eisenhowerteam.com. Also on that website, you can look at all the homes and stuff that are out there for sale. I like to randomly just take a look at the homes and see what's out there, just so I can become dissatisfied with what I have, and then plot to sell my house in an ill-fated attempt to make big dollars. And then Bob says, Fooster, your house ain't worth big dollars. And then I get used to, I love my home again. So also Westfield Veterinary Hospital. Go to westfieldvethospital.com. You can set up appointments online with Westfield. They got a submission form there. So regardless of the day or night at which you're listening to this particular radio show, you can log on to that website and set up an appointment. Get your dog, your cat in, your pig, whatever it is, animal that you got. Westfield Veterinary Hospital can help out with that stuff. Mike, you get that pig in?
He's going in this week.
Oh man,
Thursday.
Does he got the illness?
No. No. Did you know pigs like have a body temperature of like? I mean, it's like 125.
No.
So they always feel warm, like to the touch, because their normal body temperature is like 100, 120 something.
So you don't know whether the pig is, like, if it's ill, is it like 135?
I don't think you would even know the difference. They'd be too hot to touch. You'd try to cuddle on the pig and you'd go ouch and run away. It has the sickness.
Dang.
Do you often try to cuddle on the pig?
Yes.
I don't want to talk about this right now.
Hey, man.
Fair enough. All right.
I get that I just talked about weight loss, but whenever you want to give that pig up, just let me know. I enjoy bacon and pork.
I don't know how many times we're going to talk about you eating my animals, but it's coming to an end right now. My New Year's resolution was to not let you eat any more of my animals. 0.
Hey, man. That goat was an accident.
Here's the deal. I was walking, I fell down, and I just happened to be making a biting
Mama
motion.
goat charged me. I sidestepped her, shoulder checked her, and then had lamb.
What are you, a velociraptor?
All right, all right.
Seriously.
Now listen here. We're trying to sell ads here. All right. Westfield Veterinary Hospital will not slaughter your animal.
Don't bring your animal to me.
They're not a butcher. They're a realistic vet establishment.
Poova's Vet Clinic is one scary place.
No, yeah, I solve all problems and give advice.
Wait, did you want your pet back?
Hey, is that a bib? What's going on in here?
Man, why are there so many forks around?
It's a surgery of sorts.
Excision of bacon.
Westfield Veterinary Hospital. Go to westfieldvethospital.com. Here's the deal. We are not trustworthy with your animals. They, on the other hand, do very good work. And don't bring your animal here. Oh, boy. I'm very sorry, Michelle. Hey, the dog. So
Speaking of,
So the dog is in the studio. So if you remember, King MC was talking about his dog. So his beautiful wife is here with their dog, and the dog hates Buva.
oh, I'm in the
And
shot too.
It is awesome.
I don't know why. I normally don't have this much trouble with dogs.
And it hates Buva, and I got all kinds of enjoyment out of it.
Straight up hates me. Like and then I was told by the owners of the dog to lunge at it just to see what happened. And of course, Buva the Vast decided that I was going to oblige, lunged at the dog, and now it won't even look at me.
It was great.
You just got done telling stories how you eat random animals, Boova. What do you expect?
Here's the deal. Westfield Veterinary Hospital loves your animals. I love the taste of animals. There's a difference.
All right, that's it. So at the very least, if maybe you don't want to buy or sell a home, maybe you don't want to not butcher your animal, but have it well cared for at Westfield. Either way, if you guys could, honestly, it's good for them to know that you listen to the show. And that they are the advertising dollars they're using are reaching somebody's ears. So even if you're not using their services, give them an email, give them a call, pound on the door, write it on your belly, and show it to them.
And actually, here's
Don't do that.
If you are a current customer of either one of those establishments, use the phrase "Life from the Path."
Yeah,
when you use them.
yeah, drop it, hashtag it, do Life in the Path, and then do my hashtag Change the World. So MC's got some action.
Yeah.
and then run out the door.
Yeah,
Hashtag goats.
It doesn't get you a
Throw
legitimate
down
discount.
$9.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
this
For Jesus, $9 for steak.
Who tweets goats? Show them your belly. Get out of there. All right. That's what we got going on. All right. What do we got here? We got some Dear Life in the Path coming up. If you're listening on the Truth Network 99.3, we're gonna have to let you go because seriously, we're out of time. So make sure you sign up for the podcast. If you like to, here's the deal: if you're always listening to on 90.3 and you want to know what goes on after
The mystery.
after the Truth Network broadcast, you got to sign up for the podcast. Go to lifeinthepath.org. There's a little orange icon up at the top. You click that. You can get us in your favorite podcasting utility, iTunes or whatever. And you can hear there's probably an extra 15, 20 minutes of show you can dig on every single week from Life in the Path. Big thanks to the Truth Network for having us on, all of our sponsors. Be faithful in the means. Play third base. God will handle the game. Thanks for listening to Life in the Path. If you're on the podcast, we'll be right back with you.
Picking up the broken pieces tonight. A fool says in his own heart, I'm giving
I'm still bummed that they didn't stop. That they couldn't swing by.
I
and
know,
set
man.
this tour around.
I know.
I love those guys.
Hopefully they can still make it. They got to make a living.
Hopefully maybe their bus will break down over here or something.
Yeah,
you know? That's what we're always hoping for from musicians, is that their vehicle will break down here on their way to a better show. You know what I'm saying?
That's what happened with King MC. He had somewhere legitimate to be,
Yeah.
and it worked out.
That's how we get people in.
That's good
It's a
news.
hey, while you're here kind of situation.
All right, Mike. What do you got?
Okay, we got a couple on the docket, Ben. One of them, this is a little rough. Dear Life from the Path. In recent conversations with my daughter, who is away in college, she opened up to me that she is hooking up. She introduced herself to this guy 2 weeks ago, and she's already having relations with him. I tried to caution her about the dangers of such relationships and how harmful they can be physically and emotionally. She sounded annoyed and said it is her body, and she has the right to do whatever she pleases. I am shocked and disappointed. She's the first person in our family to go to college. Seems a little off topic. If I tell her father, he would disown her. Sounds like a jerk. I am beside myself. My younger daughter will soon be applying to college, and now I'm wondering whether I should allow her to go away, given her sister's behavior. How should I handle this? Should I tell her father? Stress out in New York.
I would consider whether your parenting has produced hussies.
Here's the deal, like, you gotta learn to categorize some stuff, right? Like, you got like 5 different thoughts going on here at one time. Should I send my younger daughter to college because my other one can't seem to straighten herself out? Well, that's not the same problem, right? You're just picking one thing that you're upset about and like throwing a blanket bomb out.
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense. Her father would disown her. First of all, that guy sounds like a jerk.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what my daughter would have to do to be a disownment. But like, I don't know if I'd tell that dude. I don't know, man. She sounds like she's way too upset about it right now to make a logical, thought-out decision. And so, I don't know. What do you guys think?
So here's what I'm afraid. When she said she brought it up to her daughter, like if she approached it halfway the way that she wrote this letter to the Life in the Path, I feel like that conversation didn't come off as, "Hey, I love you. I want to talk this through with you." And kind of understand your life circumstances. I want to talk to you about what this means, what kind of impact it has on your life, and ultimately how it's harmful. I don't know if she opened with, if your father found out, he would disown you. I feel like that's just a conversation that we lost out on. And that goes kind of back to some of the stuff that King MC was talking about with the church, right? Like, we kick ourselves out of a lot of conversations because we're not talking with people, we're just talking at them. And regardless of whether you approve of a circumstance or not, you don't get to be part of a conversation if you started off as a billboard. And so I'm afraid that perhaps her interaction with her daughter went the way it was because she stopped being mother-daughter and simply became a rule book. I mean, good intention, like I get it. I get where it's coming from. It's just you run that risk of not being able to have that conversation with anybody.
Boova?
The dog just barked at me.
Oh.
It finally looked at me and then woofed.
Yeah, it sounds like the mom's got a lot wrapped up in this gal, right? Like, she's the first person to go to college. Well, that, okay, I'm happy, but like that, we're talking about your daughter's well-being and the choices that she's making, and like whether she's the first person to go to college or not seems kind of irrelevant and not part of the conversation.
Right, like your long lineage of potential college graduates has been cut off at the tip.
Right. Someone finally nailed state funding. Yes. Like, it's just not, I don't understand what's there.
I mean, the truth is, like, what she's talking about is correct, right? Like, there are physical risks. Yep. Obviously, it's not God honoring. There's
it's not you honoring.
Yeah. It's not honoring to you. Like, ultimately, it's not a positive direction in any way. However, I would be more concerned that you have removed yourself to have access to have that conversation, to be part of the discussion. But speaking truth in a way that otherwise reflects that I love you, and that's why we're having this conversation. Not that I'm afraid that you're going to ruin the college lineage of the family and your sister.
Yeah.
It sounds like the mom's, motives are a lot different than the daughter's motives, and this mom is completely taken aback at the fact that her daughter is now not thinking the exact same way that she does, and that's completely thrown her off. I think she needs to step back and take a look at, what's actually driving your daughter to have this thought, and what's driving your daughter to have these actions being done, and why does she not care? There's a reason she doesn't care about what you're saying. She doesn't just not care about her well-being. I don't think that's the daughter's motive. The daughter didn't just wake up and go, you know what I don't care about? Me and my body. I'm done with caring about me. I think I'm sick of it. And Ma, shove off. I'm done with you two. That didn't happen. She's getting something from this that the mom is not understanding. She needs to figure out where the daughter is coming from and figuring out why this is important to her, and it does not matter everything else. That's the first thing she needs to step out and figure that out, because she hasn't done that so far. She's just been taken aback at the fact that it's happening.
Also, she's the daughter is talking about this with her mom, and it's like, so obviously there's some level of trust there, or at the very least, I could even see that the daughter is hurting or confused from whatever, and going to mom and saying, this is what I've been doing, I feel guilty about this, or whatever, and then mom just blah,
right.
on her, and then she's like, well, see ya, mom.
Yeah, that's true. It reminds me. Before I came into the show tonight, I was reading The Prodigal Son with my kids, and if you look at from the story that Jesus tells, right, like the father doesn't open with, by the way, tell me about how you spent my money on wild living, and frankly, he probably knew about it. And so it's not that he didn't know, and frankly, I don't think it wasn't going to be that the conversation is never had. It's just like we're not asking to say we don't talk about true things to save a relationship, but the truth is that like you can embrace those things because of the depth of that relationship. You get to be part of conversations, but like if you have the possibility to remove yourself from that by kind of reacting potentially the way she did, and especially if she came to like King MC was saying, if she came to you kind of for help, and your reaction wasn't to kind of talk that out with her, but it was just to kind of explode on her. You have very little shot of being part of that in a healthy way going forward.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Mom, once you get that relationship restored with your daughter so that you guys can talk again, one thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about your younger daughter and does she go to college is in what way are you growing with your younger daughter and teaching her how to handle freedoms? Is that something that you're doing as a parent, or are you just trying to kind of control the environment and control her decisions and whatnot? Because if that's the case, then once she's exposed to freedoms, then it's going to be all surprises. But if you're actually walking with her and teaching her about how to manage her freedom, then there's not going to be these big surprises like this along the way. You're going to be learning. You're going to be there along with her, and it's not going to be a quick 180 now that she's in a totally different environment. It's going to be just a natural progression of the values that you've been teaching her.
No, that's a good point. It would be one of those things where there's behavior that my children do that. They very well know what I think about it, right? Like, or what the consequences are, and that it was wrong. So like, there's not a lot of times I think that I've run into where there's like a huge surprise on my kid's face, like, what? This is unacceptable behavior? What do you mean I can't tie the dog to the fridge? And so, you're right. Like, if this daughter's like, it's my body, I don't even understand. Like somewhere there's probably there's a room to build that better foundation with the younger daughter. I agree with that.
I think they have a lot of communication issues going on. You don't want to hide it from dad because that's just another communication problem.
Yeah.
But they need to diffuse it somehow. So I don't know. Maybe they need a third party in there, bring in a pastor or something that'll sit there and mediate or something. But the conversation needs to happen, and they need to figure out how to move forward as a family, not just lobbing verbal bombs at each other. That doesn't help the situation at all. And try to get to the root of what's going on. But it's conversation that seems to be a lot of the theme that everybody's talking about. That you got to have some conversation. You got to get the family together and communicate. That's key.
Yeah, I would agree that like trying to keep dad out of the equation is a bad move. And I wonder if the mom's trying to use the dad as a heavy. It'd be interesting whether it could be his actual reaction, or it could be we can't even tell your father. Maybe he handles it a lot better. I don't know.
All right, Secular says, when you are less emotional, talk with your daughter and advise her to visit the Student Health Center to be checked for STDs and get on a program of birth control. Your daughter is no longer a child. She's a young woman, and sexual activity among college students is not unheard of. While I agree with you that hopping into bed with someone you have known for only 2 weeks is premature, if she's able to maintain her grade point average, there's no reason to alarm her father.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mercy.
Thanks for your priorities.
I don't think I've given up on Secular so quick and did anything.
Yeah. Well, as long as your grades are up. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, sweetheart. First, see if you got the herp. 2, make sure you're keeping your grades up.
3, have all the sex you want.
Yeah.
And make sure you're lying to your dad about it.
As long as you got those bases covered, we don't even need anybody playing third. Go ahead. It says, I assume you have discussed sex and family standards with your younger daughter. If that's the case, it would be unfair to punish or restrict her because you are disappointed in her older sister. Yeah, boy, you just, I don't agree with nothing you just
Why
said.
can't I go to school? Because your sister kisses boys.
Yeah.
See, that's kind of, I think she was blaming college
You don't get a
for part of
future.
this.
Yeah.
That was why she brought college up in the first place. It's college's fault. That's why we're going to keep. We'll fix our younger daughter by not sending her to college. But the problem is they haven't laid the foundation in the family, and they need to start doing that
Yeah.
now.
We're perfect parents, and college ruined my little baby girl.
Right. The way to help people in life is not to show them how to use their wings. It's to find a seller.
Yeah, that's right.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Give me a
Keep
chain
you
and a
locked
rock,
up
we'll
so you
fix
can't have
this.
sex, sweetheart. It's like, wow.
All right, here we go. Last one. Dear Live from the Path, my soon-to-be daughter-in-law complains about my son to me. She's not happy with his job or his boss, but he is. She says he embarrasses her and gets upset when his work must come first. Live from the Path, my son is in charge of the company. I don't understand why she would marry someone she feels this way about. I struggle with whether to talk to my son about it or not. I'm afraid he will say something to her and she will be upset with me. He is a happy young man, and it seems his fiancée only wants to change him. He's almost 30, and I don't see him changing to her satisfaction. Please advise.
No, she needs to talk. I'm sorry. The fiance needs to talk to her soon-to-be husband.
Yes.
Yeah, mom needs to push fiance. Well, if you've got all these complaints, you need to talk to my son. The relationship that you're in, not me.
Why don't people talk?
Yeah, I don't know.
Seriously.
Why do they write us?
I feel like we need a stamp of communicate with the offended or offending party. Talk with them. Don't text them. Don't email them. Don't Facebook message them. Go sit down and talk with them.
And
Is
having
our-
the conversation now will be much less painful than in 5 years when there's 2 kids and a divorce.
Maybe this is just a systematic problem of people who write to Live from the Path instead of solving it themselves and going to the offended party. They
man.
looking for a third-party solution.
Here's the deal. This story smacks of somebody who's gone to college.
This is obviously
This
someone
is
who,
the kind of behavior.
this is
you
someone
come
who
to
had
expect.
perfect parenting up until the point they went to college, and the college ruined them, and now they've been sent back and whined to their mother or soon-to-be mother-in-laws about their husbands.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's I think people feel like it's gonna offend, like she's worried that she'll offend the daughter. But like here's the deal. As obviously the person who can look at the whole situation from a hot air balloon and go, I see what's going on here. Say, look, I understand that you're frustrated with what's going on. You need to talk to my son about this. And to the best of your abilities, I'd like to be here for you, but like in areas like this, I don't know that I'm the best counsel. Right? Like, it's okay to not be the best counsel in every area. And like, I wouldn't want to cut off communication with her completely in some of this stuff. But, like, if she's using you as the backboard solely to not have to use him, like, you're part of the problem. And you know that. Right? Yeah. Like, it's not true with every situation all the time. But, like, you know that in this situation. You know that's specifically what she's doing. And so you would have to show a lack of love for both of them to continue to allow yourself to be in that equation.
Yeah.
Here's what Secular says. Your son's fiance is complaining to the wrong person. Here we go. Before talking to your son about her complaints, talk to her about them and suggest she talk to him. If your son is happy in his job, happy with his employers, and being well compensated for his work ethic and ability, she should be happy for him, not embarrassed. It's important that he know how she feels before the wedding, because if he learns about it afterward, there will be problems. However, if she's unwilling to communicate her feelings to your son, then let him know she has concerns about his job and suggest he discuss them with her before they say any I do's. And I was with her before she said, sly tell the son that his lady's got some problems. That's not a good idea.
Yeah, you're the completely unbiased mediator between your son and the daughter-in-law that is about to be your daughter-in-law, who's complaining about
The
him.
mom's writing in. Here's the deal. No, this whole thing sounds shaky like a boat, man. Here's my son.
Mike's standing up on
He's
this one.
very successul. He's done really well for himself. He's in charge of the company. I don't know if you knew that. He's 30 years old, which means that he's not going to change himself for any woman. And then there's this catty lady that's trying to marry him. That is the gist of the story, right? I feel like mom has colored this in gray.
Yeah.
This is definitely a mom telling the story. Here's all the great things about my son. Here's this catty broad that's trying to take him away from me.
How
He's
dare
very
she.
successful. I don't understand what her problem is. She probably just wants to spend some time with him, right? Most ladies that have a problem with a guy's job is that they don't get to spend time with their husband.
Yeah.
And
Well, she
really, is
commented
that
on that.
outrageous to ask? Right? Do you want to marry a woman that doesn't give two craps where you are most of the time?
Right.
I appreciate the fact that my lady says, look, you've been working too much. We need you home. Okay. Sometimes I lose sight of that, right? And sometimes I need a loving wife to look me in the eye and go, it's too much. And I go, okay. And then we fix it. But like, you really want a lady that doesn't care if you're home or not? I feel like maybe she's not quite as bad as she's been colored.
Yeah, that could be. Mike's brought in the sympathy.
I think the whole thing's a mom sham.
All right.
I don't like it.
Hey, you've been listening to Life in the Path.
Hey, would sham mom been funnier?
Yeah, that would have been funner.
Dang it.
Yeah. She was missed opportunity. All right, you've been listening to Life in the Path. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Make sure you check out the website, lifeinthepath.org. Sign up for the podcast. Although, if you're listening to this, you're already on it. Tell your friends or somebody randomly, maybe not your friends. Share the love of Jesus by telling them to sign up for the podcast.
And for the love of all things holy, stay out of college.
Don't go to college.
It does awful things to good people.
Mercy. A big thanks to King MC for jumping by. We always appreciate having him on the program. You can find him on Twitter at KingMC. And download the album. Go to datpiff.com. And then just do a search for King MC, and you'll pull up his album. Get that thing downloaded. Listen to it. Love it. Talk about it on social media. Share it with your friends. In fact, do that first before you talk about Life from the Path. Get yourself some credibility, and then kind of slide us right in there. But make sure you show that guy some love. Keep an eye out for where he's going to be. Go out and support that show. Thanks, dude. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. And you've been listening to Life from the Path. Be faithful in the means. God will take care of the ends. Have a good week.